faces at the sky. Aaron Rodgers paperback.
Welcome into Rover-Sports at night here on a Monday night. And Bruce, what a weekend of football. But our job here is to decipher teams, to decipher where the game went wrong. And our task is to break down Green Bay, look at everything pack, and just to decipher what went wrong against the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, we just saw the film, and we've got some couple highlights, a couple great shots here, and I think we're going to be able to dissect it, and we're going to be focusing on our Green Bay Packers fans and directing this to them. Again, I'm the Sports Doc. I'm here with Spencer G. on Rover-Sports.com. We want you to subscribe to Rover-Sports.com. We've got a lot of free gifts, a lot of exclusive offers, and we are here in our studio. And without any further ado, let's get rolling.
To it. So the first two culprits of the whole Green Bay Packer and the whole game is pretty much Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. And Bruce, when you look at this football game, the Green Bay Packers, they had opportunities. Like, these aren't mistakes where you look at this and go, Dallas just mauled Green Bay. You look at the interception, or you look at Rodgers it was 17-6, I believe, or 20-6. Green Bay's driving down at the 4-yard line after an interception. They're rolling. They call a quarterback draw. The first drive of the game on 4th and 1 from the 20-yard line, when you're down 3, I believe, you're calling a fullback dive, or I think it was 0-0. They called a fullback dive on the first series of the game when the team is absolutely rolling, trying to come back from a 7-0 deficit. So I looked at those mistakes as crucial coaching errors by McCarthy and the offensive calls. But what did you see also?
I did too. I really saw that Lacey wasn't able to run, and the offensive line broke down. Just looking at Rodgers, he just didn't seem like he had the same swagger he usually does. They threw him off. I think they threw some different blitzes, different coverages at him. And, the play call, I think McCarthy wanted to try to balance up the run and the pass, and it backfired. Certainly that fumble by Rodgers in the red zone was very crucial. So we could trace this game to crucial errors by the Packers, uncharacteristic mistakes.
When I look at this football game, Bruce, I just see a couple of undisciplined plays in the secondary. Cole Beasley torched Micah Hyde, and I mean torched Micah Hyde in the game, and also just the secondary was a concern, but Aaron Rodgers had Randall Cobb for a touchdown. He didn't play his best game, but the play calling, you're running Eddie Lacy, you're having success. Why abort the run when you're having a lot of success? I looked at this game from Green Bay and just mental mistakes. The turnover from Rodgers, the interception, third quarter, they start out, the drive is picture perfect. And he throws an interception inexplicably to Barry Church. So just killing plays that kill them. The turning point in the game, Bruce, I really think was the Lucky Whitehead play. It was 10-6, first half. For some reason, McCarthy is calling timeout. So the Cowboys are at their 10-yard line, right? And it's 45 seconds. You're thinking it's the Green Bay's only going to be down by 4 going into the break, even though in the red zone they were horrific. And then the Cowboys run a brilliant end around, a great call. You have to give it to them, a great call. But McCarthy, if he didn't call those timeouts, it goes into the half. And then the culprit of all the mistakes is Ladarius Gunfer. I mean, a backup rookie cornerback, and Terrence Williams just completely just shriveled him up. That whole minute there at the end of the first half was like the Rodgers scramble. Catastrophic mistakes that you can fix, but just horrendous coverage by Ladarius Gunfer. And then Bryce Butler touchdown. Boom, boom. Ladarius Gunfer burnt toast, the culprit of a disaster to end the first half. It's now 17-6. The game is on its freaking head.
Yeah, I believe that. You're playing at home. They let the air out of the ball. 17-6. And Gunther was the GOAT for sure. And it just seems like the Packers just never got back into the game. Once they were down 17-6, they were more or less running uphill. And then Dallas was able to play ball control. And, Dak Prescott didn't have his best game. He threw his first interception ever. But looking at it, the second half they were on cruise control, and they were able to pretty much play a little bit of stall ball.
Yeah, I mean, also just looking at the offense, Aaron Rodgers just is, and here you're seeing the play where this is the end of the first half, where, again, Ladarius Gunfer just completely gets smoked, and it looked like a middle schooler trying to play cornerback out there. I mean, it was just absurd at times, and here's the Aaron Rodgers interception. There's the play. The whole series is going great. He fumbles in the red zone. They stall in the red zone. Everything happened because of the red zone. Very correctable mistakes. Like Aaron Rodgers, Bruce, he still has the arm strength to get it done. And there you see there the Zeke Elliott run. It's just momentum plays. Like Aaron Rodgers still has all the arm strength in the world. Do you think that these are correctable mistakes, or do you think Aaron is declining in his play this year?
I wouldn't say he's declining. I think that he's had some spotty play by the offensive line. The play calling is suspect, and he is missing certain passes.
Like
I'd say maybe
yeah.
like the Cobb was kind of inexcusable. He's missing right and left. At times he just doesn't have that pinpoint accuracy. I don't know, because he's such a warrior, I don't know if he's completely healthy. At times he's not running well. His footwork, he's stumbling around. Something just doesn't look right to me.
And Eddie Lacy, when the Cowboys are playing just a zone defense, or they're playing four guys or rushing four, so when you rush four, the O-line has to protect, which they did, but Aaron cannot be retreating. He was retreating way too much, and basically you're seeing the highlights here, the play action, the lucky Whitehead, just game breakers in terms of the game. On 3rd and 1, the Cowboys just dominating that possession. But that's the only play really where the Dallas Cowboys were successful, were those 3rd and 1s, Bruce. And you look at this game, and if the Packers didn't shoot themselves in the foot, you have to admit it's probably a completely different ball game. It wasn't like Dak and Zeke were just lighting Green Bay up.
Well, you're right. The lucky Whitehead plays, broke the game open. And you're going into halftime, and that was a backbreaker. I definitely agree with that.
Absolutely. And, I mean, the game pretty much, as you could see a little view of our studio right now, the lucky Whitehead plays were backbreakers. Aaron Rodgers is stepping back. And with Eddie Lacy, you have to run the ball consistently. When the Dallas is playing 7 guys in coverage, you got to run the ball consistently. Isn't that right?
It is true, and I think Lacy just hasn't had that extra step. Certainly runs for 2 or 3 yards, but looking at it, yes, here we are. This is the Rover-Sports studio. Alternative camera, you get to see everything.
Right
and,
on. Yep. And
we thank our producer here. We've got Victor Cabrejos, who is the man behind the glass here.
Yep.
And we've got a great mixing board. We want to thank Al Zafiri for that.
Right.
And you can see a picture of Jordy Nelson.
We got to send out an Ambler alert for Jordy Nelson. This is supposed to be one of the best receivers in football. The coaching staff is not drawing up routes. The screen game was working. Like, when you play football, you shouldn't have to rely on a 15-second play. And when Dallas was dropping everybody back in coverage, you just got to use those quick passes. You know what I mean? With Aaron, you got to get Aaron throwing the ball out quickly. And yeah.
Well, I know that obviously Jordy was injured last year. I think there was a lot of anticipation, a lot of hope that when he came back, that this would be the old Packers offense. It just doesn't seem like it has the same speed. It's just choppy. Aaron Rodgers, and look at him. He disappears at times during the game. Like you say, there's no points bulletin out for Jordy Nelson, and you can see by that clip that he's been frustrated.
Yeah, let's talk about, we could talk about Dak versus Aaron Rodgers and this entire football game right here on Rover-Sports, the show. But when I look at the offense of Green Bay, they're running it well. In between the 20s, they're moving the ball. They're executing fine. It's just that Aaron Rodgers at times likes to backpedal. That throw in the red zone on 3rd and 5 in the first half where Jordy Nelson was just beyond, like ran a 4-yard route. They needed 6 yards. The fullback dive. They just didn't attack the zone. Now, Devontae Adams had some big plays over the middle. Devontae had a nice game. But the bottom line is when Green Bay's playing 7 in coverage, you got to run it up the middle. Now, they ran it to the sides, but Terrell McClain was just, dominating in terms of run stopping Eddie Lacy. And when Green Bay needed to run the ball in the red zone in the green area, that's how you score, is running the football more consistently. They ran it pretty well, between the 20s, but when they needed yards, they couldn't smash it up the middle bit.
The running game broke down in the red zone, and I think that's one of the keys to the game, why the Packers weren't able to do it. I think that they were overplaying the pass, unable to run. In essence, that was that was the story there.
Absolutely. And just going back to the game, the Ladarius play, there needs to be an adjustment made for Ladarius.
There it is. I think that's a really nice
killed him.
Look at that. Look at that separation there. And on the play before that,
and it made Dak look a lot better than he was. Dak was kind of out of control the game.
The corner on the play before literally did a matador play. He was reaching behind him. I don't know if we have that video teed up, but you could see the same there. There's too much separation on an end zone play. The ball is thrown perfectly by Dak, and that was a backbreaker certainly for the Packers.
As we look ahead now for Green Bay, I think Mike McCarthy and the offensive coordinator needs to do a better job. I thought the defense held strong against the run. Like interior line, like Julius still had some big plays. Clay Matthews is still having big plays. But it's time to just be more consistent in terms of play calling, play cleaner football. It's a lot of cliches. I think Green Bay is totally fine. You watch that game, the interception by Rodgers is just inexplicable. He has all the arm strength, so the skills aren't diminishing. It's just attention to detail, stepping up in the pocket, making it simple when you're running the ball well, not aborting the run, and just not turning it over, not having catastrophic plays, finishing. And Ladarius in the secondary. Micah Hyde was getting beat by Cole Beasley. So as the secondary gets healthy, it's a long season. Green Bay Minnesota looks like they're going to win the division. But the Pack get in the wild card. They were right there with Minnesota in Minnesota. Sam Bradford's not going to bite too much. I still think Green Bay's an elite team even after watching this. These are just mistakes that are correctable, and we shouldn't press the panic button on Rodgers because media just loves to talk about, Aaron Rodgers is diminishing. So I'm putting that to rest here on the show, at least in my opinion I am.
We've seen times where people have written Rodgers off. He comes back strong. I'm just not sure he's not a little banged up. If you look at it, he's cumulatively taken a lot of hits this year, a little bit of Andrew Luck when the guy's just beaten up, and I don't really see that he has the extra foot speed, and I don't really see the confidence in the offensive line, and therefore his throws are rushed. They're not on rhythm, sometimes throwing off the back foot, and I just think the Packers got to get in rhythm. There's plenty of games left. They've had a really brutal first part of the season. The second half eases up a bit, so I'm certainly not giving up on the Packers.
Yeah, and the way they played versus the Giants, their run defense is still there. The O-line protected. Mental mistakes. Green Bay, this team should be fine. The offensive coordinator and McCarthy, though, they need to look at their, themselves in the mirror a bit. And Aaron didn't play his best game, but again, freak stuff from Aaron. I think he's going to get it cleaned up. He still has all the talent in the world. He just needs Jordy Nelson to start producing. They're really missing that tight end, too. They're missing that Jermichael Finley when he was healthy. Bubba Franks. They're missing that quality to their offense. I still think the team is good, though. NFC, I still see Green Bay. Second round, still maybe going deep in the playoffs, Bruce, as we wrap up the show here.
Yeah, I agree with it. And as we could see, certain teams, the Philadelphia Eagles took a big step back. They've lost 2 straight games. We were covering it in FedEx Field. So that's a team that took a step back. The NFC East, there's a lot of parity. The Cowboys look like the class of the NFC East now as represented in this particular game. But you're looking around the league, you see certainly the Cardinals have been disappointing.
Carolina.
The Panthers have been disappointing. Seahawks are starting to rise. The cream's rising.
The Pack are there.
But I think certainly they're in there for at least a wild card. And do I really believe in Sam Bradford? Do I think he's elite? I don't think so. They have an elite defense, and I think that the rest of the league is going to figure out the offense for the Vikings. It's not that daunting. Adrian Peterson is out. They will lose some games that they're supposed to win. So I think the Pack is going to be right there in the Central Division.
Thank you guys for watching this show. The NFC North is an interesting division indeed. Excited to cover more games. Like and subscribe to Rover-Sports. We have a lot of giveaways here on Rover-Sports. We're going to be hiking up to Lambeau pretty soon. We know we have a lot of listeners up there in Green Bay. We love doing these Packer pods after games, as well as other around the league content as well.
Right, so what you need to do is go on rover-sports.com. You can subscribe for free right now.
Like us on Facebook. This page is everything.
You get exclusive content. There will be a lot of giveaways, signed jerseys and helmets and things. So we're going to come to a time when, unfortunately, we're going to have people subscribe. But this is a time to get on the ground floor with Rover Sports. Again, I'm Bruce the Sports Doc. Yeah. I'm here with my co-host, Spencer G. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown of Packers Cowboys.
Absolutely, and take care, guys. Good night.